Hey, welcome back to the channel. So World Rugby has reinstated Owen Farrell's red card that he received against Wales a couple of weeks ago. That's the big news, and I want to talk about whether the 4-match ban that he received is enough, or is it a half measure when a full measure was required. So let's get into it. So the red card was reinstated, and I think most people around the world believe that to be a fair decision, and that is where the initial uproar came from. The statement from World Rugby said that Owen Farrell was never in a legal position to make a tackle, and as a result no mitigating factors, namely Jamie George's magical push, should be taken into account. And from how the rules are written and what the referees say on the pitch, no one, I think, can argue with that decision. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward. It was a red card, and now we get into how long the ban should be. So the initial ban was 6 matches, which would basically have taken Farrell out of the entire group stage. It was reduced to 4, which is still a pretty hefty ban for one of these incidents. And the wording of why it was reduced from World Rugby states that there was an acceptance of foul play, there was a clear demonstration of remorse, and because of the player's good character. Now, unfortunately, all of those points could be refuted, I believe. It's hard to say that there was an acceptance of foul play when the initial plea from England's legal team was not guilty, and they presented evidence that it was not in fact a red card and a yellow. So I guess Owen Farrell was given the opportunity to change his plea, if you want to use the legal terminology. But based on the original disciplinary hearing, saying that it wasn't a red card is not an acceptance of foul play. So he was lucky there that he got to change his plea, if indeed he did, which I'm assuming he must have. So that's issue number 1 with the acceptance of foul play argument. Secondly, there was the acceptance or the clear demonstration of remorse. Now, I think this is going to be an issue with not necessarily England fans, but fans of rugby around the world. Throughout this whole palaver, this mess, I think one of the things that compounded it was that the England coaching staff and people around the game at the higher levels didn't show any remorse. In fact, they questioned the whole process right the way through, from the initial announcement that World Rugby was going to look at the rescinding of the card. That doesn't really strike me as very remorseful. And I think the whole spat that Owen Farrell had on the pitch with Biggar, and I think Biggar made the point that Farrell was arguing with the referee that, you know, he shouldn't be sent off, and Biggar kind of stated in not too uncertain terms, like, shut up and take your punishment. So is that remorseful? I don't think Farrell ever made a statement directly to the public to state, or to the public or to the player, that he injured during the tackle, that he was sorry, because I think at that point he couldn't, because he pleaded not guilty, and if he had, it would have undermined his legal team's kind of position. So again, that one is debatable. Finally, we have the doozy in the trio, and that is the player's good character. Now, I've got nothing against Farrell. Actually, you know, he always has a special place in my heart because of his performances in the New Zealand Lions team. When they drew the series, he was fantastic on that tour, I think. But I think it's well known that Farrell has his issues, you know what I mean? His temperament sometimes is questionable. On the pitch, I'm sure he's a lovely guy off it, but on the pitch, yeah, he does tend to blow his top. He's been involved in multiple incidents where he's hurt other players because of his poor tackle technique. So yeah, and he has form, as one of the commenters on my channel put it so succinctly. He has form, you know, so good character. Again, These are all questionable arguments. But ultimately it resulted in the ban being reduced from 6 weeks to 4 weeks. Is that fair though? Because the ban was reduced, still, it's going to affect England in a big negative way. But because has been reduced, do you think that now is going to keep all eyes on every single little decision that World Rugby and the disciplinary panels around the world make? I think it is, because people are always going to be on edge from now on about like how long the ban is going to be. Other players who've received much longer bans initially, they're going to be still questioning whether theirs was deserved in light of Owen Farrell's. So I think a full measure would have been preferred to a half measure. But ultimately that's what we've got. Owen Farrell will miss the next match against Fiji, and also the first two games of the group stage against Argentina, which is going to be a huge game, and also Japan. They're taking into or including in the ban the game against Ireland, which I actually mentioned in a previous video that I thought that might be what they're doing, because and I quote again, it voluntarily stood down from the Ireland match, so that will count as one of his 4 matches. Now if you watch Borthwick again, they need to get their ducks in a row. If you watch Borthwick, the reason why he stated that he'd left Farrell out was nothing to do with the ban. It was because he hadn't been able to prepare because of all the media and public attention on Farrell, which he thought was egregious and unfair. So again, that's one, it's kind of touch and go. Should that have been included then? Because that wasn't the original reason why they stated that he was missing the game. But I guess technically they could claim that, but that's part of the thing that people don't like about it. It's all like England trying to use technicalities to try and get out of things which, other countries can't do, or are unwilling to do. So it's going to leave a bad taste in people's mouth, even though World Rugby has reinstated the red and given Farrell a ban. It's just going to leave a lingering smell in the room. Not a very nice analogy there, but yeah, I think not a great result, but you can say justice has been done in some form. But yeah, it's going to be ongoing now, unfortunately, and I'm sure there'll be further incidences in the World Cup. But that's just my opinion. Please let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, looking forward to this weekend's matches. So keep an eye out for the videos around the rugby this weekend. So yeah, take care and thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.